This is a case of a patient with a corneal scar of her right eye. It's a 68-year-old female patient, and the etiology of her scar is unknown. The only other remarkable finding is that she does have some mild guttata. Her manifest refraction shows that her best corrected visual acuity is limited to 20/60 vision. Her left eye does correct to 20/20. These are her elevation maps of both her cornea and her scleral surface. To the left, we have her cornea, which really shows mild to moderate irregularity and certainly matches what we might expect to find with her best corrected spectacle acuity of 20/60. To the right is her scleral elevation map. The center red circle is actually her cornea that's demarcated by that black circle, and we're going to ignore that. What we want to key on, though, is the colored map around the red circle, which is the elevation map of her sclera. And when we talk about elevation maps, the blue colors represent, or cooler colors represent areas of increased sagittal height or steeper areas. And the warmer colors represent areas of less sagittal height or areas that are a little bit flatter. So we can see that this patient has these two really dark blue areas that are oblique and that are symmetric. And this really represents oblique scleral toricity. And we can use software to measure the exact amount of scleral toricity. And for this eye, it happens to be 400 microns. And something sort of interesting to note is that's approximately double of the amount of scleral toricity that we might see for the average patient. I did fit her with the Europa Tangent scleral design, 16.5 millimeter diameter. I did utilize the optimum infinite material, which is a hyper decay material that allows us to maximize oxygen to the eye. And this is especially important for this patient because she does have the mild guttata. With the base curve of 45 diopters with approximately 4,500 microns of sag easily cleared her corneal surface. And I did, of course, incorporate 400 microns of landing zone toricity so that we can evenly land that lens on the patient's bulbar conjunctiva scleral surface. And you can see from the photograph that we don't have any compression or edge lift. The lens fits very nicely. With a little bit of nearsighted power, she is able to see 20/25 vision, and she's very happy. We did send her home with the lens, and she returned to me a few weeks later, still very happy and satisfied with both the comfort and vision. I decided to do an over aberrometry measurement to see if I could measure any residual higher order aberrations that were preventing her from achieving 20/20. And the RMS value, this overall aberrometry measurement value, was 0.2 microns, which actually is quite normal. That's near the normal eye measurement. But what we did see with the aberrometry measurement is that she did have some residual astigmatism, -1.25. And in fact, actually, this then manifests out with a sphere sill overrefraction. So +1, -1.25, axis 144 improves her vision to 20/20. And so this is something now that we can add to the lens design as a front surface toricity. When we add front surface toricity, we do have to have the lens rotationally stabilized. And for this patient, her lens is stabilized by her back surface toric landing zone. We also have to measure to see if there's any lens rotation that the consultants will need to know about for designing the lens. And this isn't dissimilar than when we're fitting a soft toric contact lens. The Europa Tangent has hash marks at the 3 and 9 o'clock position for you to determine lens rotation. I'll highlight those for this patient's lens on her eye. And we can see when we look at those hash marks that this particular lens, doesn't have any lens rotation. So that value would be 0. If the lens would have been rotated, for example, let's say 10 degrees nasal, then you just have to make sure that you convey the amount and direction of the rotation so the consultants know how to adjust those optics for that lens fit. This is the final lens on her eye, and you can see how nicely it lands on the bulbar conjunctival scleral surface without any compression or edge lift. The patient's very comfortable and very happy with the fit. And then with the front surface toricity, she is now able to achieve 20/20 vision.